There is one stock about to skyrocket. In my opinion, it's actually an ETF, so it's a basket of stocks. And the reason I think this ETF is a good one to buy right now is it's a marijuana ETF. Now, what happens with marijuana stocks is most of them don't actually become successful companies. I don't know if that's because the leadership, the management that those companies attract are not the most tier one folks, or if there are actual regulation challenges that make it extremely difficult to operate these companies. In early August, there was a rumor, just a rumor, that Trump was looking to reclassify marijuana as a Schedule III substance, which would ease restrictions and make it more widely available and legal in a large number of states. So naturally, a lot of investors poured into these stocks. I personally don't think you should pick which stock is the right one to jump into. That does not sit well with me as a smart idea. What you can do, though, is you can ride the momentum and you can get into this ETF if you think it's a good idea. The ETF is MSOS. It is the marijuana ETF, and these are the levels and the recent news that may move this thing. Let's get started.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So this is the ETF, and you can see what I see pretty clearly. I think this was the rumor of the Trump reclassification early August, sent this gapping up, and then it has really not done much during most of September when the market went up, but that is sort of expected given that most of these companies are tiny. This company itself is only $5. Well, let's take a look at essentially a little bit of press releases about this ETF just to get an idea of what you're dealing with here. This is not like buying the biotech ETF, which looks pretty awesome right now. Actually, just broke out. Like the XLV, the financial ETF, the home builders ETF doesn't look great, but these are examples of other ETFs you might consider at other times. That's not those. This is definitely more speculative. It's $5. I mean, what do you expect? But here's what we're talking about here. If you go back to early August, this is the conversation going on. Trump privately committed to reschedule marijuana multiple times since taking office, CEO says. Okay, so these are kind of examples of why this is about as deep as you want to go into these fundamental rabbit holes. So DEA administrator confirmed by the Senate, says the cannabis rescheduling will be one of his first priorities. That sort of conversation has been going on for years, and if you look at this ETF, it looks horrible. Like, this is not something you want to just jump into and buy. It's basically gone down. It certainly went up in the euphoria of, when every stock went up in COVID times, but hasn't looked really interesting until just now. So this isn't like a long-term hold or anything, but there's definitely an opportunity here with a higher low where you can risk, in this case, 50 cents or less, and then look for a move into $7, $8 or more, which sort of coincides with this level where it started to really sell off in November. So I'm not going to sit here and say that this is the best ETF to buy. Also, it does, sort of appear that Trump's election was actually not good for marijuana business, or so they thought. Only recently it starts to sound like it might be okay, and that's kind of why this is recovering. Now, before we get totally caught up in, this rumor says this rumor says that, these are the companies that move in lockstep. So if we look at these are always talked about extremely speculative. Canopy growth, Aurora as well. And then Cron and Tilray are also always talked about by penny stock investors. So Tilray is the only one that looks like it has some juice to it. I don't think you can buy any of those, including Tilray. It's just way too volatile and just, I mean, moves up, moves back. Yes, it held, but I'm not really seeing that as an opportunity. It's just ugly. So here's the way to buy it. MSOS. And if we look at a little more info about this ETF, there are other ETFs. POTX is global, but that one's going to be tough. It doesn't even show up on Thinkorswim, but because you won't really get the benefit of any sort of rule changes that roll out in the US. They might not affect that. This is very much a public opinion speculation play, and that's actually okay, because it might not seem like it, but that's basically what most of the market is anyway. So yeah, I do think this news about CBD and news about any sort of medicinal qualities is going to be important, and it is important that this fund, this ETF, this fund portfolio is across states. So you're not concentrated in one state, and now you just have to figure out, is there any sort of big piece of news that's going to get people really scared? Obviously, it looked like Trump's election was a big piece of news, but this Florida sort of reclassification could be major. This is what the Trump rumor was about. Florida is, of course, at the forefront of sort of risky business. And then federal research is also a positive. But that's sort of TBD. Anything that's evidence-based will be good. And that was a while ago. So I don't really think you have to get too caught up in any of these specific initiatives. I do think that this is basically a pure momentum play. And all you really have to take a look at is these are the tickers. And you can see, if we look at some of these tickers, and one more that's interesting to keep an eye on is actually MJ, and this is the one that most closely resembles MSOS. You can see that the volume here is basically non-existent. This is a couple 100,000. This is like in the tens of millions of dollars a day. Now, I'm not saying MSOS is a ton, but at least it's in the hundreds of millions, and it resembles that same upwards trajectory with a higher low, with volume coming in, where you can see that money is flowing in, and it's at least a $5 stock, so you get the benefit of an ETF. It has a 9% daily range, so it definitely moves. It's recovering a major key level on news. That key level was breached on what I think to understand the election of Trump, which the news sort of reverses that breach, given that now he seems to be in favor. So that's positive. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you view this as sort of a healthcare type investment, that's kind of what this chart resembles. You know, a trial or a piece of information that reverses a previous negative piece of information a failed trial result or some type of big pharma company not supporting, a company that it has a minor investment in or that it receives royalty payments from. So I think the ETF's the way to play it, even though this chart looks more interesting. Well, equally interesting. There's just not enough volume. And none of these penny stocks are all interesting except to say that they do indicate sentiment in the sector. So as little as I want to talk about this sector, it's actually one of the lowest risks, highest reward, momentous opportunities in the market at this particular moment. So this might be the only video made on this in a while, but here it is. And those are the levels up until mid sixes, risk 50 cents, get above this 550 level, and there could be an opportunity there. These candles are very compressed, so pretty interesting. Surfing these moving averages, the moving averages are aligning, and they're also stacked up. So basically stacked up, where the fastest one is above the next fastest one, who's above the next fastest one is above the slower one. So that's when the stock tends to go, and you can see it down here. When they all come together, there can be moves up. Is this pretty choppy? Yeah, this is choppy as heck, but now you have a level to risk off of. Probably just picking 50 cents is the safest. I mean, you really don't want to hold it below $5. $5 is a very whole dollar number level. This is a very retail driven stock. A lot of people are going to be paying attention to $5. And if we look on an intradaily, which I don't love to do, but you can see that if it gets down here, it could go a lot lower. So that's the idea. That's the spot. That's the plan. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of videos about these stocks, but just happens to be under the spotlight right now. If you like ideas of low risk stock opportunities, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you want to see more. And if you want to get the best idea, head over to stockscommunity.com. You can try it out for $25 for 7 days. You can see a couple of people in there who had some great results when you go to stockscommunity.com. And either way, I'll see you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 This is Sam Putnam.